Hey there YouTube, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel, Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to take these tiny little hearts, put them in a teddy bear keychain, and hopefully by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly how to give your little teddy bear keychains a real heart. So if that's what you're interested in, you're in the right place. Let's get on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. I hope you're all doing well. And you're probably wondering, looking at the screen, what the heck's he going to be doing in this video? So, you're right to wonder that, basically. So, in the Black Friday sales, I managed to see this UV torch, small mini UV torch on Amazon. I think it cost around about £15, but I thought it's going to be ideal for small UV projects. And I've done quite a few of these sort of teddy bear key rings now, which I think turn out really cool. And my thinking behind this is I love that mold, but it's been used about 50 times so far, so it's a little bit worse for wear now. It's still usable. But my thinking here is I've also found this tiny little gem mold. And if you see, there's those little hearts just there. My thinking is to have the teddy bear pretty much in clear with a little heart in the center, and I think that would make a really cute little key ring. So, and it'll also be a good test for this to do the whole key ring, which it will be interesting to see if it manages to cure it all the way through. But that's why I'm not gloved up yet as well, guys, and that's why I've got a coffee by the side of me. No resin has been opened yet. I'm going to be using the Apex resin, UV resin, which which I got from Just For You Online UK. I'll put the link in the description to this and the torch on Amazon, and these molds, what I got from Amazon as well, in a pack of 5. Just so you can get them. But if you want any of this Apex resin, they also do a couple of really good standard 1-to-1 resins as well. One's a fast cure, one's normal. I've got a discount code for you, which is ccukresin, and that will get you money off anything on the Just For You Online UK website as well. So have a look at that. And I found the product so far to be really good. I've still got a couple that I'm going to be trying out as well in future projects, so looking forward to that. So before we go any further, let's start with the unboxing of this Dark Dawn Make Invisible Visible UV lamp, and we'll see how it works. You watch, it'll be the wrong type of UV lamp that doesn't actually cure UV resin, no my luck. Hopefully I'm wrong. So, comes in the box. Little instruction manual. Again, you can screenshot that if you want to. I'm probably not going to read it, if I'm being completely honest. But it looks pretty good. I like the look of it. It's a decent size one. It's not one of those mini ones. And the other reason I liked it is it's rechargeable via USB. It's not standard batteries. And anything with standard batteries I hate, because I always run out of batteries. So, well, it works. Look at that. It looks quite powerful, but it's whether or not it's going to cure this UV resin. So we will find out in a second. So, going to get gloved up, not finish my coffee, and then just crack on with the experiment. But if you look at it, it looks quite bright. And don't ever shine these in your eyes, you will damage your eyes. But it's quite hefty, which hopefully means it's good quality as well. And you can unscrew this a little bit further. I don't know what that does. Does that concentrate it a little bit more? I think so. So yeah, let's have a look. If you concentrate, that concentrates it on a smaller area or a larger area. There we go, just by turning it around. So I think I'm probably going to want it quite concentrated for this, since we're going to want to cure UV resin. So I'll leave it on that mode. And then on the back is where you'd plug it in to recharge. And again, I don't know who this company is. I've never heard of them. I just found it on Amazon and thought it'd be a good Black Friday buy, and hopefully if it works, it saves me getting that nail UV lamp out every time I do a UV project. So I'll be back shortly and we'll give this a test. So here we go, guys, and I'm back and I'm gloved up, so we're good to go. Hopefully I'll be reasonably safe. So the first thing I'm going to do, for this experiment, I'm only going to do 2. I'm not going to go and do a load of them until I know it works. So I'm going to keep those 2 molds out, and on this mold there is 2 little hearts, which is great. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put a tiny bit of this UV resin into my pot. Just enough for those 2 hearts, which I think should be more than enough. And then I'm just going to mix it with some red mica powder. So again, I've got this standard red mica powder. Hopefully that will be enough. I shouldn't need too much. And again, I don't want too much, because if I put too much in, it could affect it curing. So just a sprinkle like that. And then I'm going to mix it together with the UV resin. And it shouldn't cure because it's night time here, and the only thing I've got on is my standard ring light, which is an LED light, which hopefully means that this won't cure. As you can see, it's quite opaque now, just by mixing it with that mica powder. And to be fair, it might be a little bit too opaque, but again, you could batch these out. You could literally spend an afternoon just making these little hearts if it works in different colours. You could probably do it for different birthstone colours for months of the year, anything like that. So I'm happy that that's been mixed, and I think these little hearts are only going to take a drop. So I'm just going to try and get a drop in each. And again, just going to let it fall off the tool. And I don't know about you, but I always find it difficult to work with such a small mould. I'd much rather work with bigger moulds, but that's just me. Again, I want to make sure it's full because I do want a full heart, and I want to see if I get a gemstone effect, because I've never actually used this mould. It was actually a gift from my daughter, because she used to be into resin and she's not anymore. So she's given me all of her old moulds to have a play around with. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, and see what effects I can get, if any. But I do want to make sure they're full. So I'm just keep on dipping it in until I'm confident that they're full to the brim, which I'm confident that one is, and that one. Now I'm going to try and keep this to the side so I don't affect it with my UV torch now. And I'm just going to use the torch and see what happens. It's the first time I've used this torch, can't see any bubbles in it, so let's go for it. I'm going to hold it over it for about 10 seconds, I think. And the interesting thing is here, I don't know if it's curing or not. I know it's a UV lamp torch, but I don't know if it's actually curing it, or how powerful it is, to be honest. So I might try and concentrate it as much as I can, like so. And I think that's the concentrated mode. And then just leave it over it for sort of 10 seconds. And then the test will be is whether it's cured. So I'm just going to grab a toothpick. And if it hasn't, I'll be upset. But no, that seems to have cured. I'm just tapping it. They're both solid. So far, so good. Now what I'm going to do is just turn the mould around as well and try and get the undersides of them as well, just to make sure that I've given it the best chance of curing possible. And now we'll find out. So, see if they come out the mould first of all. 1 and 2, and they look cured, which is great. So the lamp works anyway. I'm going to try it on the bigger piece in a minute. So there we go. I've just got 2 little hearts, sort of gem-like hearts, which I think would look quite cute in the centre of those teddy bears. So there we have them. And it seems to have cured them quite well. So that's the easier part, I suppose. Now the question is, will it cure something this size? So we will find out. And I'm going to do this the whole way through. So if after you've seen me use the torch and you're happy with that, you don't want to stay the whole way and see me turn them into key rings, you don't have to, guys. It's just what I'm planning to do. So it'd be great if you do stay till the end, but it's completely your choice. So again, I'm going to fill these now all the way to the top. In fact, no, I'm not. I've got some Aurora powder as well from Temu, if you see. And that's got a few mixes of colours. I just think it'll add something to these teddy bears, so it's not just plain with the heart. So I am going to mix some of that up with the Aurora powder. And again, I'm just going to be using that same resin, but I do need enough to fill them both. I just think it adds another dimension, and it's not normally too heavy, these Aurora powders, so they work really well in UV resin normally. So again, I'm going to put a decent amount in here this time around, because I want enough to fill both of those teddies, hopefully. And I'm guessing this, and I'm hoping not to get too many bubbles, but whenever you use a large amount, you tend to find that you do get them. In fact, as part of this experiment, I'm going to try putting this in the debubbling machine just for a minute, because I haven't done that before. So for those of you that don't know, I've got a Resin's Bubble Airless Pro, which I use for my normal resin. I haven't tried it with UV resin, and I've kept saying I'm going to try it just for a minute or so and see if it removes bubbles from UV resin as well. So I'm just going to put that in the debubbler for a second, and we will see. In fact, I'm just going to move you across now so you get to see it as well. This is the Resin's Airless Pro, and you can see that UV resin in there now. Because if we can get rid of the bubbles before we pour, I'll be a lot happier. And it does seem to work. They seem to be rising a little bit. Again, just trying to get you a clearer picture. But if you see, they seem to be rising from the base up. So it shows me that it's working. And if this does work, I'm probably going to use it all the time when I'm using UV resin in big quantities like this, where I don't want air bubbles. But I'm going to fast forward this now for you guys, so you haven't got to sit here for the full 5 minutes. Right, I've just paused it because look at all of those bubbles, and if I didn't pause it now, they would overflow. So I'm just going to let the pull the silicone tab out of the back, and we should hopefully see these bubbles disappear if it's the same as epoxy resin. So here goes. So yes, it does work, which is interesting to know, because that looks a lot clearer now. So I'm going to put you back up here, and then we're going to have a look at it together. Now, you always need to torch the top of this anyway when it comes out the debubbler, and I'm just intrigued as to if those bubbles are just on the surface now, which that seems to be. Look at that, and now they're gone. So there's definitely a lot less from doing that, especially of the bigger ones. There's still a few tiny ones, but I'm going to leave that to settle for a second. And you can see they're all just on the surface, and when I'm torching it, they're going. So again, if you've ever wondered if you can put UV resin in your debubbling machines, yes you can. So now all I'm going to do is put some of this Aurora powder in. Not too much, and then I'm going to try and stir it as gently as I can, because again, I don't want to put more bubbles in. Now I've just spent that time taking them out. So again, not too much, just a tiny bit of these Aurora sort of flakes, I think you call them. Putting them in there. And wow, they're a lovely purpley colour, these ones. And I think, as I said, I don't want to go overboard. That should be enough for what I want, because I still want the hearts to be the focal point in these teddies. Now, I'm just deciding whether or not I have to do this in layers, and I don't think I do. I think if I time it right, I shouldn't have to. So now I'm just going to give this a very gentle stir around, just to mix those flakes around, and hopefully not introducing too many new bubbles. There we go, so I'm happy with that, because I don't want them to be completely covered in the flakes, I just want them to be a few. And if you can see, there's my stick, just a few flakes on there. I'm going to put it down there so you can probably see it better. And there it is in that UV resin. Still a couple of tiny bubbles, but I think you're always going to get that. no matter how careful you are. I think when you're working with resin, it's almost inevitable that you will have some bubbles. So now all I'm going to do is pour a thin layer in first. Again, trying to do it quite gentle. Now I was considering actually curing a layer first and then putting the hearts in, but I don't think I'm going to have to. I think I should be okay to just put the heart in, and as long as I'm quick with the torch, I should be okay. So I don't want to fill this all the way, because obviously when I put that heart in, it's going to still rise a little bit. There we go, so that's that one. And I think I may have judged this about perfectly, which is good. It's very rare. I want it reasonably full though, both of them, because the heart isn't going to take up that much space. And there we go, I've got a tiny bit left. In fact, I might even have enough to do another one. I'm going to have a look, because there's no point wasting resin once you've mixed it. And then it just means doing another heart, which is pretty straightforward. So we were only going to have 2, now we're going to have 3. And if you can hear snoring in the background, apologies, it is my dog. He is a cross between a bulldog and a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, so they do like to have a snooze and they do like to have a snore, so apologies if you can hear that. So just going to get the last couple of drops out so that all 3 of these are full. And if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I hate to waste resin, and that's why I try and get every last drop out. So I'm just going to very quickly put a torch on the top. Not a lot, just a tiny bit for any of those surface bubbles. And obviously you're risking your mould here, so if you have got a just a lighter, then use that. But there we go, I'm going to put those out the way because I need to do another heart now. And there we go, so we've now got the 3 hearts ready for the teddy bears. And I'm going to do them one at a time, just because I think there's a risk otherwise of them sinking, and I don't want that. I want them to go where I want them to go. And I'm hoping not to get any bubbles. So what I'm going to do is the remainder of the UV resin, I'm just going to dip them first so that they are covered in resin, which hopefully should help prevent any bubbles. And I'm just using some normal tweezers for this. If you've got craft tweezers, then you're probably better off. And then I'm just going to position it roughly where I want it, like so. And I do want it to be the other way, so I'm just going to manipulate it like so, down a little bit. I don't want it to sink. There, I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to cure it. Again, never look directly into UV lights, guys, because it can damage your eyes. I'm just giving it a little while so that I'm making sure that it's hopefully going to be cured. And it shouldn't really struggle with this because it's mainly transparent, apart from those aurora powders or flakes. I'm now just going to do the underside as well. Seems to be curing okay, but I won't know until I take it out. But if you look, it's not had a lot and it already feels cured. Look at that. So actually the torch seems to be doing its job. I'm just going to give it another 10 seconds just to be safe, because it is reasonably deep, which isn't really what UV resin's meant for. But I'm pretty happy with that. It feels cured. So that is one. Again, looks pretty cool. I got the heart roughly where I wanted it. So hopefully when I demold, that will look cool on the other side, but we'll find out in a sec. Still got 2 more to go now. Let's see if I can get the other 2 to where I want them. Again, just dipping it in the remainder of the UV resin, covering it in the resin. I'm trying to prevent air bubbles by doing this, guys. So you tend to find if you're introducing anything into resin, you're better off just covering it in resin first. and it tends to prevent air bubbles. So there we go. So this is this guy's little heart. It's almost like Bear Factory, this. Pick your heart, put it in. There we go. I'm just going to manipulate it round. And I think that's about right for me. And then just going to cure it. And obviously I'm starting where the heart is because I don't want it to sink anymore. I want it to stay suspended in the resin. I'm going to speed this up for you guys so you're not sat here watching me for 2 minutes just curing each one. I don't know what's happened there, but his ear seems to have risen a bit there. So whether that was one of the aura flakes, I don't know, to be honest. I might have to sand that one down. Very strange. His ear just popped. It looked like. Yeah. Very, very strange. But I can always fix that afterwards. Again, it's curing. There's no issues with it curing. It's definitely curing. Just seems to have deformed his ear for some reason. There we go. So that's number 2. Now onto the last one, number 3. And let's see if I can get him without a deformed ear. Really strange. You can see the ear just seems to have popped out a little bit and deformed. Don't know why. But we'll persist. As I say, I can always sand it down if I need to. So the last heart. Yeah, just making sure it's covered in the resin, which it is. And always make sure you give your tweezers a wipe afterwards as well, guys. I seem to have a hair on it, so I was just grabbing that off. Because I don't want a hair in this piece either. I think it's an eyelash. Put it back in there. It's gone. So again, just going to lay it into the teddy. A little bit fiddly. Again, I don't want it to sink though. About there. And then hopefully we won't get a deformed ear on this one. Let me know what you think in comments. So that I think should be cured. So I'm just going to get them all side by side and give them one last blast before we demold them. But yeah, I'm liking the torch. It seems to work. So, next stage. In fact, I'm just going to give my gloves a little wipe because I was touching that UV resin. I don't want to get these sticky if they're not already. And now we're going to demold and see what they're like. Hopefully, fully cured. So we'll start off with this guy. Again, doesn't feel sticky at all, which is great. This guy. That is so cool. And then now they're at the mold, I'm just going to give them another quick 5-second blast just to make sure. I'm pretty confident they're cured. There we go. That was a quick 5-minute job. And I've got 3 potential keyrings, which I'm actually really happy with those. I think they look really cool. And you can just see the little teddy's heart in there. Now again, that's number 2. Really shiny, but he's got a heart, and this is the one with the slightly deformed ear. So what I might do is just snip that off with some scissors now I've cured it. But let me know what you think in comments, guys. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn these into little key rings now. But the torch seemed to have worked, so I'm really happy with that. So what I'm going to do to turn them into key rings, dead straightforward. If ever you've made key rings, you know how this is done. I've got some O-rings. I've got some of these little tiny hoops. I've got my pliers. I've got the little keyring attachments. And I've got a little jewellery drill because I've not got my Dremel inside. And I'm hoping this will work. He says. So I'm just going to try and let's go with number 2 first, Mr. Deformed, and just trying to get it in the center if you can. And it's a really strong resin actually, this. I'm going to do this bit off camera just for a second, guys, until I can get the hole going. Here we go. So I'm just going straight into his head, which may seem a bit cruel, but I'm hoping he won't feel it with him being a teddy. There we go. And actually there's a tiny bit of uncured resin in there, so it hasn't cured all the way through. But I am going to fix that in a second because I don't want anything uncured. But I might as well, since I'm at this point, get this little screw in, and then I can go back over it, because you want a tiny bit of, to stop it showing, what you do is you dip the end of the screw into the UV resin. There we go. So if you can see, got the rest of my UV resin there. And I'm just dipping the end of that screw in the UV resin before I put it in the teddy bear. Then I'm going to try and line it up with that hole and just hopefully screw it in. This is the finicky bit. And again, it's not perfectly central, so it's not my greatest piece of work, this. But hopefully as I screw it in, I can get it fairly level. And then what I'm going to do is, now I've done that, is just get my torch again on it and just make sure that head is fully cured. And I think there is a bubble in there, but not a lot I can do about that now. There we go, and that should be cured. As you can see, I should have done it slightly further back. It's by no means my best keyring ever, and that's why I normally use the Dremel, because literally with the Dremel it's a case of 2 seconds, bzz, like that, and it's done. I hope you like the sound effect there. But that is my keyring. Now all I'm going to do, and I'm not going to do all 3 of these on camera because I think we'll be here all night, is just get one of my keyring pieces like so, get one of my O-rings, and this is so much easier without gloves, and I don't normally wear gloves for this part, guys. So all you're going to want to do is grab one of your O-rings, open it with your pliers, and loop both through. So that's my keyring, and that is the end. And then I'm just going to close it up again with those pliers, hopefully not trapping my gloves in the process. And there you have it, a finished keyring, a little teddy bear with a heart. So again, it's not perfect. I'm going to probably sand around his ear, but apart from that, I think he's pretty cool. And it's just a cool little project that I thought of to test the torch. So I hope you've liked it. If you have, like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video. But who says teddy bears don't have hearts, huh? See you on the next one, guys.